Live, this is your Fox 29 Morning News.
It's 11 and a half minutes after 8 o'clock. There were fewer foreclosures in South Florida last year than in 2009, but it is still a major problem for many. So what can you do if you're facing foreclosure? Shari Olefson from Fowler White Boggs joins us this morning with some answers. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
It's my pleasure, Roxanne. Thanks for having me.
The numbers don't really tell the story. It's still a serious problem in Palm Beach County and in all of our viewing area. What are the rights of people who are facing foreclosure?
Well, people's rights come from three places. They come from the loan documents, in other words, the documents you sign at the table, which everyone should have a copy of and everyone should be reading. They come from the Florida statutes, which explain how a foreclosure has to happen, the time frames and the notices that have to be given. And then they come from something that's new to this crisis, which is these new different programs and rules that are being promulgated by the state and also out of Washington. So that would be, for example, President Obama's Making Homes Affordable program, or some of the rules that Fannie Mae has come out with if you have a loan that's owned or serviced by Fannie Mae, or the new mediation program in Palm Beach County, for example.
How do you get to that mediation?
Interesting question. Now, you only qualify in Palm Beach County if your foreclosure case was filed after July 12th and if it's your homestead property. It doesn't apply if it's not your homestead property. But if you qualify, your lender will now be required to send you notification prior to initiating or moving forward with the foreclosure case. Unfortunately, only about half of the people even respond to that notice. So one of the rules is don't ignore the things that come to you in the mail.
Okay, pay attention. You've got to kind of do your own homework and get on this on your own.
Take some responsibility.
It doesn't resolve itself. Okay, you live in a neighborhood. You're the homeowner who's fortunate enough to be able to pay that mortgage every month. The home beside you is in foreclosure. What are your rights as the homeowner paying the mortgage?
You know, this is one of the biggest expenses on municipalities now. The numbers range from $20,000 to as much as $100,000 that each foreclosed home is costing the municipalities and the banks. Your rights, unfortunately, are very limited. Of course, you have the right, if you'd like, to go and mow the lawn for them. You can call the municipality. You can try to call the bank who holds the mortgage. But, you know, as you know, that one of the biggest problems is banks are not returning these phone calls. If the property becomes listed with a real estate company, you can call the realtor. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do if people don't respond.
But don't banks, if they own the house, if they've taken it over, aren't they responsible?
They're responsible for it, but there's a whole litany of issues with that, not the least of which is that these banks have millions of foreclosed properties now that they're trying to deal with.
We could go on and on with this conversation, but very quickly, since we are running out of time, what is the biggest mistake people facing foreclosure make?
Three mistakes, and luckily they're very easily fixable. One is ignoring the problem. Don't ignore it. Read your loan documents, open your mail, respond and be responsible. Two is being unrealistic. I mean, you have to be realistic about whether you can afford the home or not, and if you can't, move on. And the third is choosing the wrong person, which is the reason a lot of people got into bad loans in the first place.
And you don't always have to move right out, do you?
No, no. You make a plan, and you can some of the time you can do this on your own schedule.
All right, Shari Olefson, thank you so very much. Now, next week, we've got more on this because, as we mentioned, this conversation could go on. We're going to talk to a mortgage expert about options that other than foreclosure, how you can save your house. We touched on it this morning. We'll talk more about it next Wednesday morning. John, over to you.
All right, Roxanne, thank you. It's 8:15.